was a crispy critter producing portable cannon whoop-ass that was most effective against fortified positions, like bunkers and gun emplacements. Gunnery Sergeant Tom Williams of the United States Marine Corps Historical Company invited us to a little barbecue that he and the boys were throwing. And their choice of grill was the M2-2 Flamethrower. Hurrah!
As you can see, the unit once worn like that is fairly awkward and usually dependent on a team to get it where it needed to go. Like that, you notice now my assistant, Staff Sergeant Sullivan, is going to be helping me as we actually start to take the weapon ready for operation in combat. Pressure's up.
And that ain't turtle wax we're pushing. You can squirt diesel fuel, straight gasoline, or gelled gasoline, better known as napalm. Now I've got some technical stuff to get through before we can get back to the barbecue. So listen up. The weapon is made up of two groups, the tank group and the gun group. The tank group consists of two large fuel tanks, a center tank that held compressed air, a pressure regulator, and a pair of safety heads. The tank group weighed 35 pounds empty and 62 pounds full. You wore it on your back, attached to a pack carrier frame. It came with quick-release straps, so you could ditch the weapon in a hurry. And I don't mean to answer the call of nature, either. The gun group weighed 6 pounds. It had a flexible fuel hose and 2 triggers. The back trigger controlled the flow of juice, and the front trigger fired it up. Inside the nozzle was a replaceable cylinder that held 5 igniter cartridges. Basically, big matches. To operate the weapon, you first turn the pressure regulator. This moves compressed air onto the fuel inside the 2 big tanks. Then you grip the safety and squeeze the rear trigger. This gets the product to leave the tank and flow into the hose. At the same time, you squeeze the front trigger. This strikes one of the matches and ignites the fuel stream. And you're back in business. You've only got about 4 gallons of fuel. That's about 70 seconds worth of flame. You fire short bursts, because just a little dab will do you.
You have to manhandle the grip. It's not something you'd baby. You have to push it in the grip safety and then squeeze completely open on the valve to make sure you have full pressure coming out.
And when you're out bunker busting, here's something to think about. If that many gas stations strapped to your back takes an enemy round, you will be history in a bad kind of way.
If he takes a round in the tanks, wherever there is an opening, that's where you're going to have product coming out and vaporizing, and any ignition source will have a tendency to ignite it. Many flamethrower operators that were killed during the war, this is the way they got it. So basically, the operator goes up in a fireball. Not a pleasant sight.
Don't make you want to be a flamethrower operator, does it? Once you've shot your load, you'll want to open the safety heads. This releases the remaining pressure in the tank and allows the weapon to be refilled. We built nearly 25,000 M2-2 flamethrowers during the Second World War. Flamethrowers weren't used very much by our guys in Europe. The fast-moving war presented few opportunities to use the short-range weapons. But flamethrowers found a welcome home in the hands of the Marines fighting the up-close and personal war in the Pacific. When the Marines landed on Iwo Jima in 1945, there were some 485 flamethrowers coming ashore, ready to root out a dug-in and fanatical enemy. We even turned tanks into giant rolling flamethrowers. The weapon served again in Korea and in Vietnam, and was finally taken out of service in 1975. By then, it was thought that chasing guys out of caves was a thing of the past.